P-A-S-C-A-L. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up, weekdays. Catch us live, somebody, let's go. P-A-S-C-A-L. You are now rocking with that
evening, good morning, and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are finding this show in good spirits, as it should. We got another variety show for you guys today. Another variety with something very big, a very double stuffed middle for you guys, okay? One hell of a show for you guys, and I'm really excited about sharing this information with you guys and all that stuff. There is something going on, and we are going to be talking about this very, very shortly, okay? There may be a break in this case, a 42-year-old case, and we're going to hear it live, talk about it live here in just a minute. So before we get into everything, like I said, it's a variety show, so please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below, crush it, do what it do, you know what I mean. Just do me that favor, okay? Crush it, crush it, crush it. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. That'd be greatly appreciated. Please do not forget to hit that follow button if you're watching on any of these social media platforms, Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Okay? And of course, please be sure to crush that subscribe button here on my main channel if you're watching over here on YouTube. Hello, my YouTube fam. All right. And also go over to the Pascal Show Clips, my secondary channel. Go over there, check it out, show some love, show some attention. That'd be greatly appreciated as well. Subscribe there. All right. Just posted a clip of something that I'm going to be sharing here on the show too. But I put it over there first also, okay? Also, please hit that join button down below. Become a member of the family. That'd be greatly appreciated, okay? Simply by hitting that join button down below, you can become a member of the family. Support the channel if you can. Check out Patreon, patreon.com/The Pascal Show. Check that stuff out as well. There's going to be something very special for patrons and members coming up here near the end of this week. I'll explain all that in just a little bit, but please go check that out. Or you could also support simply by going over to pascalmerch.com. Yes, your man's got merch. Your man's got clothing. Okay, go check it out. Got some really great stuff over there. I'm sure you'll find something you'll enjoy over there as well. Okay, guys. We have a few things that we got to get into. Like I said, this is a variety show. Okay, this is a variety version of the show. And today we're extra horny. Okay, we're using the horn like crazy. All right. So that means that we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things that are going on that have recently gone on over this weekend and have happened even today. And we're going to open up the discussions and talk about those things. But we also have something very, very big coming up here to talk about very shortly, okay? We have an exclusive interview with the mother of Rachael Runyan. She was 3 years old, a 3-year-old girl that was taken. Her life was taken by a monster. We still don't know who the monster is. Don't worry, we will be going into a breakdown of that in just a little bit. But first, just a few things as everyone starts to file in to the show, okay? First and foremost, I did put out a video, okay, that I am really... There we go. Get rid of that echo. But there is something that just recently happened that I am really looking forward to sharing with you guys. And, I just posted it a little bit earlier today. And so I'm looking forward to sharing this with you guys before we jump into everything, right? Before we jump into the whole kit and caboodle. Okay. Now, for some of y'all know that I have had or did an interview with an exclusive sit-down conversation with Jennifer Lewis, okay? Legendary Jennifer Lewis. Now, here's the thing. I had a conversation with her about Diddy, Now, if you don't know what's been going on with Diddy, Diddy has been getting slammed with all kinds of lawsuits left and right. It's been absolutely insane. Okay. So I wanted to share this with you guys because she had some things to say about these lawsuits and about him, just him as well. Honestly, it was information that I didn't even think about. Real talk, it never even crossed my mind. I've been so busy thinking about so many other things, about how monstrous this man is, that I never thought about this. So I wanted to share this little clip with you guys on an interview that's going to be coming out later on this week. I'm really looking forward to sharing this interview with you guys, this conversation. It was really something else. Without further ado, let's check this out, shall we? I wanted to hear your thoughts on this whole scandal, all of the assault allegations, these lawsuits that are coming after Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs. I'm curious about that.
I don't know Diddy, Puff Daddy. I don't know anything about this.
You've never...
No.
You've never met him?
I know who he is. I have met him.
Okay.
I met him at, I think, the Essence Award. I don't know him. What I do know
What do you know?
is that video that I saw of him grabbing her hair, throwing her down, stomping her, and literally throwing his leg back to kick her. Well, now, that is madness.
That says it all, right?
No, that's sick. That's mental illness. That's all of it. I'm not here to judge anybody, but I know that that's wrong. Hateful, evil, sick, but more than all of that, sad. Because somebody had to done it to him.
Yes. So that is actually happening. This interview that I had with Jennifer Lewis, legendary Jennifer Lewis. Now, let me just say this. I've had interviews with her, another interview with her in the past. Okay. You know, spoiler alert. If you don't know, now you know. Okay. I've had another interview with her about 2 years ago. Got a chance to sit down with her again and chop it up with her about a bunch of different things. We didn't just talk about Diddy, because obviously there's more that she talks about in this. Okay. And again, I can't wait to share with you guys the full conversation, because we talk about everything. Okay. We've talked about everything before too, but there was a lot that happened to her over the past 2 years that we did a lot of catching up. But what I wanted to say that I thought was very, very captivating and very, very interesting about this particular interview or this conversation about Diddy is her talking about him saying that somebody has done this to him too. That took me back. I was like, whoa, I never thought about that. I never thought about mental health. Now, I'm not sitting here trying to, you already know how I feel about Diddy and what he's done and all that stuff. I think he's an absolute monster. Okay. But what she said there was very interesting, that this could be generational. We talk about it further. We expand a little bit more. But I wanted to give you guys, like I said, a little tiny bit of a little tiny morsel for what is in store for Friday when I drop this interview. Okay. So again, I'm very excited about this coming out. I'm very excited about sharing this with you guys. And again, it's going to be an exclusive. It's quite the conversation. And it's with one of the biggest, one of the biggest legends in the game, which I am really, again, really, really looking forward to. So again, just a quick reminder that will be coming out on Friday, but I will say this, God willing, if I get everything done, it's been a crazy, crazy day already, but if I get everything done, I'm hoping that if I will be able to have it out for all the members and patrons. You guys will have first access to seeing the full interview before it airs on Friday. So I'm hoping, I'm not making promises here, but I'm hoping I'll be able to have it out by Thursday so everyone, y'all can consume it with your eyes. Okay? Okay? So I'm really, really looking forward to it. But like I said, some very interesting information that she said there. It was like, wow, okay, yeah. This obviously has been passed down. He learned it from somewhere. But again, someone else just said it in the chat. I agree. This does not excuse any of his actions. But it was very interesting what she said. And she continues more. Like I said, there's a lot more to this. But we will talk about that in a little bit. Okay? So I'm excited about sharing that with you guys. Okay? And we're going to get into it. All right? So let's get into more conversations. Now, here's the thing. This is something that's very weird. And of course, my condolences and my heart goes out to Mariah Carey. Something very weird just happened. Mariah Carey's mom and her sister both lost their lives on the same day. I'm not kidding. Mariah Carey's mom and sister both lost their lives on the same day. This doesn't make any sense. We got a video clip. We got a news article. We're going to take a look at this, okay? Mariah Carey does confirm that her mom, Patricia, and her sister, Allison, both passed away on the same day. My heart is broken, okay? So it says Mariah Carey's mom, Patricia, and sister, Allison, died on the same day over the weekend. People can confirm. My heart is broken that I've lost my mother this past weekend. Sadly, in a tragic turn of events, my sister lost her life on the same day. This is what she said in an exclusive statement to People. I feel blessed that I was able to spend the last week with my mom before she passed. I appreciate everyone's love and support and respect for my privacy during this impossible time. No other details, including Patricia and Allison's COD or cause of demise, we got to use these code words, are known at this time. Patricia, who was previously married to Alfred Roy Carey, was a Juilliard-trained opera singer and a vocal coach before the couple welcomed Allison, Mariah, and son Morgan. The parents later divorced when the hero singer Mariah Carey was 3 years old. Mariah's relationship with her mother, for whom her vocal talents were inherited, was complicated throughout her life. Like many aspects of my life, my journey with my mother has been full of contradictions and competing realities. It's never been only black and white. It's been a whole rainbow of emotions, she wrote in a 2020 memoir. Our relationship is a prickly rope of pride, pain, shame, gratitude, jealousy, admiration, and disappointment, continued Mariah in the book. I'm compelled, a complicated love tethers my heart to my mother's. Interesting. Now, I think that's interesting because I don't really know the story and the dynamics between Mariah Carey's mama, okay? But the fact that it says that it's pride, pain, shame, gratitude, jealousy, admiration, and disappointment, to me, it sounds like, maybe Mariah's mama was not happy about her success, maybe a little jealous because she would want that same success but never got the success. Maybe, I don't know, but it's very interesting nonetheless. Okay. Very, very interesting, right? You should just be happy for your kid, right? But that's just me assuming, right? Despite their ups and downs, Mariah maintained a relationship with her mother. In 2010, they came together for ABC's Mariah Carey Merry Christmas to You special and performed a festive mother-daughter duet of "Oh Come All Ye Faithful, Hallelujah" chorus. Mariah also dedicated her memoir in part to Patricia and to Pat, my mother, who through it all, I do believe actually did the best she could. She wrote, "I will love you the best I can always." That already right there sounds like a very complicated, that's a very complicated statement. Okay? That sounds complicated as hell. Okay? And to my mother, okay, who through it all, I do believe actually did the best she could. I will love you the best I can. Always. That just sounds a little bit complicated, but that's just me. Okay. None of you Mariah Carey fans get at me. Okay. You know, I say this with all the love and love. Okay. So Mariah's relationship with Allison was also quite complex. The star wrote in the memoir that it was, at least at the time, emotionally and physically safer for me not to have any contact with her or Morgan, her brother. That's crazy. So again, it makes you wonder what actually happened here. How did this go down? Why did this go down? How did the mom lose her life and then the sister loses her life as well? Could it be that the sister did something unthinkable because she was so distraught by the mother passing? Because think about it. What are the odds of two people, like, you know, your parent and your sibling passing away on the same day, if it isn't because of a car crash or something tragic where both of them are in the same place at the same time? That's weird, right? That's a little bit weird. So I got questions on that, guys. I got a lot of questions.
To report singer Mariah Carey.
Bad news for Mariah Carey, and George Pinocchio joins us now to fill us in.
It's just heartbreaking news to report. Singer Mariah Carey is sharing some devastating news. She lost her mother and her sister on the same day last weekend. Her reps confirmed the news to us, providing us with a statement from Carey saying, "My heart is broken." In her 2020 memoir, Carey acknowledged the relationship with her mom had its ups and downs, calling it a complicated love. Today, she wrote, "I feel blessed that I was able to spend the last week with my mom before she passed." Carey had an estranged relationship with her sister Allison. The causes of their deaths have not been released.
I am still very curious as to what the hell happened here, because this is weird, y'all. That's very, very weird. One moment your family's there, and then the next minute your family ain't there no more. That's just seems a bit strange, wouldn't you think? That just seems a bit weird, right? Again, one moment you're there, one second you're not, but then both of them are gone on the same day. What are the odds? Like I said, what are the odds of that? Unless they were both in the same place at the same time and they lost their lives in that way, or one found out the other one passed away, got very upset, and passed away because of that. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's so weird. That's so weird. Very weird, right? Very, very weird. Real quick, Chef Apples, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. And Nikki, welcome back. I think you're just re-upping, but I appreciate both you guys. And just like Chef Apples and Nikki, please consider becoming a member of the family simply by hitting that join button down below. Okay. Check out PascalMerch.com. Check out my Patreon, you know, all of that ish. Okay. Become a member. Like I said, hopefully, God willing, if I get everything done in enough time, the interview with Jennifer Lewis will be out for members only the day before it's supposed to air. So you get full access to the interview before everyone else. Ain't that dope? You know what I'm saying? That's fire. That's fire. Right? I'd like to think it is. I'd like to think it is. Okay? But I digress. We have got to get into this conversation. Okay? We definitely have got to get into this conversation. So I know a lot of you guys are very interested and very much here for this reason and this reason alone. We are here to talk about this case that happened 42 years ago, which is absolutely crazy, guys. 42 years ago. Okay. So we got to talk a little bit about this before we get into the conversation. So we have this case of Rachael Runyan. She was 3 years old. Okay. So this taking and unaliving of this 3-year-old Rachael Runyan happened in 1982. Okay. And it's still a very haunting case that continues to resonate, not only because of its tragic circumstances, but also because of its significant impact on child taking alerts or child abduction alert systems in the United States. On August 26th, 42 years ago from this day, today, on 1982, Rachael Runyan was playing with her two brothers at a park near their home in Sunset, Utah, when she was lured away by a man who promised her bubblegum ice cream. Despite the frantic efforts of her family and law enforcement, Rachael was missing for 24 days before her body was discovered in a creek in Morgan County, about 50 miles from where she was taken. The condition of her body was so decomposed that determining the exact cause of demise was impossible, though it was suspected that she was asphyxiated. Despite eyewitness accounts from her brothers, who described the suspect as a black man driving a blue Ford Pinto, the case quickly went cold. Over the years, the Sunset Police Department, along with other agencies, pursued numerous leads, but none resulted in an arrest. To this day, Rachael's monster has not been brought to justice. Now, the thing is there have been so many different theories out here. So many. People have been talking about snuff films, people talking about her body being used as a satanic sacrifice, like a satanic ritual. There's been speculation of a black man actually taking her and shoving her into his, like I said, into his vehicle and driving off. And then, of course, weeks later, finding her unalive in a river. There still hasn't been an answer, though, yet. The mother, Elaine Runyan, has been working so hard to find out what actually happened to her daughter. Again, like I said, there's been nothing but speculation. People, and it's unfortunate because the family has been has been made to look left and go look right and look all over the place without any semblance of any type of proof to any of the theories that have been out here. Sounds a little bit familiar, doesn't it? 42 years later, we're dealing with the same type of stories right now as we speak, in cases where people come up with all kinds of crazy theories. They'll give tips, and those tips will lead to nothing. It's just speculation and crazy conspiracies. So I had an opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with Elaine Runyan and the private investigator for this case. He basically revived this case. Okay. He turned this cold case potentially into something hot. And that's private investigator Jason Jensen. I got a chance to talk with them. And so this is a pre-recorded interview, just so you guys know, but I do want to share this with you guys. Because again, Jason has something that I think is going to be very interesting. So I want you guys to listen to this, and I hope you guys enjoy. So I'm very honored to have two people that are still looking to find answers behind this tragedy, this unsolved murder case. Please welcome Elaine Runyan and private investigator Jason Jensen to the show. How you guys doing? Thank you so much for being here.
Good.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, of course. So, Elaine, if you mind me asking you, how have things been? I know it's been 42 years. So a lot, I'm sure, has changed since the day that Rachael was just taken out of that playground. But I'm curious, how have things been for you personally as of late?
It's been hard. It's been a long 42 years, and I never dreamed that I would be doing this that many years. But I've always had to keep Rachael to the forefront to keep her story alive so we can try and get some answers. So anyway, from the time my son told me that Rachael's in a car, a blue car, and that someone had kidnapped her, the whirlwind began, and there's lots to the story and lots of programs, and the Today Show, New York, CNN, Freeman Reports, just many, many programs, Unsolved Mysteries. And so over time, we just keep trying. We just keep trying to do one thing after another to keep the story alive. And we've got the Rachael Runyan and Missing and Exploited Children's Day, which is today, and that was passed through legislation. We have the Rachael Runyan Memorial Park, and we have an award when an Amber Alert is solved. And so that started with Rachael Runyan Alert, and then it got really big, and so it went national, and involved in that. And then I met Jason, and he had a very concerned interest in the story and he knew how to do investigation work, and asked if he could help. And I'm like, absolutely, we need help.
So, Jason, I'm curious because I know, I mean, it's been 42 years, and now, I mean, you got in a few years back. What has been the investigation like been for you, since it is kind of an older case? It almost, with all due respect, you're kind of, how are you finding new clues in an area that's already kind of had a beaten path, if that makes any sense?
Right. And this is the kind of case that before you get into it, you're thinking there's nothing I can contribute, that all the best minds and all the brightest investigators have already looked at it. But while I was looking at the Marla Sharp case, it's another local case where in that particular case, they misidentified a male pubic hair on the victim as being an African-American when it was actually his Hispanic hair. It occurred to me when I was listening to an update on this particular case where they thought that an African-American was responsible for Rachael's abduction. I was like, well, maybe there is something to explore here. So I reached out to Elaine at around New Year's Eve 2020, and I asked her, is there any chance that your son, when he said thought it was a black man, that could have actually been another ethnicity? And she said yes. So I'm like, well, can I help you on this case? And so here we are 4 years later, and we believe that we have a person of interest, likely the suspect responsible for Rachael's abduction and unfortunate murder.
Right. We are going to talk about that, because I know that's kind of a little bit of a break in the case in your perspective, Jason. And we are going to talk about that here in just a minute, I promise. But I am kind of curious about, she was taken, they said it was an African-American male. Of course, they had a a sketching of his face. Now, what was going on as far as from my understanding, your son could have mistaken that man as just maybe he was just a dark complected man. Maybe he was,
He was 5 years old.
Right.
He was 5 years old. There's black and there's white. It's like he said a few years ago, I didn't know Korean, Asian, African, Hispanic. I didn't know the differences at 5 years old.
Right.
But as he thought about it over the years, he's like, I don't think it's a black guy.
Interesting. So did he ever speak to law enforcement, and what did law enforcement do after that? Did they dive into that and look to see if this could have been a Hispanic male or not?
What's interesting about that is, bear in mind, there was two primary witnesses that were interviewed in 1982. One was this 5-year-old, Justin, Elaine's oldest son. At the time, there was also another boy, a 10-year-old, across the park. So those two witnesses both helped render two different sketches. They being the police, opted to focus primarily on the one sketch because it was provided by an older witness that they thought would be more reliable. That's the one that everyone's familiar with over the decades, that looks like an African-American in the sketch. The second, an 11-year-old boy, the second sketch that kind of fell into the annals of time that we brought forward to the spotlight a couple years ago was the one that, I shared with you earlier that you can share with your audience that looks more Hispanic. And that's because that was the sketch that was rendered from Justin's assistance. So there was always this wider description of a likely suspect, but they honed in on one rather than keeping it broad-based, that he was medium brown complexion with an Afro style hair and a mustache and a gap between his mustache where the philtrum is. When Justin informed them that there was a gap, they put the gap this way under the nose rather than this way, which makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Of course, police didn't look into this, which is very, very interesting. And with the information that you have now, Jason, you're saying something about this Hispanic male by the name of Joseph Lee Apodaca, if I'm correct. Right. He goes, I guess, AKA goes like his nickname or street nickname is Blind Man. Can you explain a little bit more about this? Because I think this is very interesting information. And he could have been in the area during that time because of his line of work. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Sure. Joseph Lee Apodaca was a Sunset City citizen. He had lived here with his parents in the Sunset area, just right off of 250 West, just on the north end of town. And he was in and out of prison throughout his whole life. There was many different kinds of crimes, wide ranging from like drug offenses to crimes against children, including one in 1969 where he was convicted of raping their family babysitter. And that's where the nickname of Blind Man came in, because when he was about to be sentenced and he was facing certain prison time, he sabotaged his vision, sticking himself in the eye, hoping to go blind in order to prevent a prison term. He was not successful. He did not completely blind himself, but that's where the nickname Blind Man came from, because he had tried to blind himself to prevent himself from going to prison.
Wow. And that's insane. And that's some very interesting information. But so how is there a connection? Where's the connection between what happened to Rachael and Blind Man?
Sure. And what we know is that the family had a vehicle that matched the getaway car, if you will, the witnesses described that there was a blue-colored Pinto wagon, a two-door wagon with wood grain panels. There's only one type of Pinto at the time that matches that description, and that was a Pinto Squire. So it was a two-door. It looked like a wagon, but the wagon had four doors on the side instead of two. And that family, Apodaca's family, had that kind of car because our witnesses that came forward informed us that at the time there was a fight among her parents about reporting him as the likely responsible party for the crime, a suspect, but the parents fought over the fact that the mom accused the dad of being prejudiced and didn't like Lee, and said, besides, they're looking for an African American, so they didn't bother to call it in because they knew that Lee was Hispanic. Had they called in, this might have been a resolved case, 42 years ago. But there was that belief that he was responsible. There was the matching vehicle description. And we believe that at that time he had the gap in his mustache. We've seen some older photos, but not any specifically in the summer of 1982 that we could say unequivocally that he had that kind of a mustache at that time. But what we also know is he was a roofer by trade, meaning he's up on hot roofs all summer long. And that we believe that contributed to a darker complexion because not only was he Hispanic, but he was tanned from months or, days at a time being on roofs of homes. And, you're going to get darker anyway as the summer goes on. So it's summer, it's August 26th in 1982. We're looking for more information from the public to share with law enforcement. Like, for instance, we want to know if Lee had a history of, drinking coffee at parks, because that's what the accusation was of this guy, that he was sitting there at the park drinking a cup of coffee when the kids came out, and then he walked across the park to engage with the kids. We want to know if he's got that history, if there was he matches the description about the mustache, whether he had, there's anyone out there with photos that he had the blue shirt with the red stripe, because that's what the suspect was wearing that day. And we want to know all about his behaviors, if he would react on, get smashed or drunk on any August 26th, if he would be triggered when he'd hear the name of Rachael Runyan, because Elaine was fantastic bringing it up every year. So we want to know if people witness changes in his behavior that would signal that he had some personal guilt or remorse about this crime, but was willing to take it to the grave.
No, and I get that. And those are all really good questions to get out there and start asking. But I'm also curious, was he local? Because I understand that, because from my understanding, when this person, this monster, went up to Rachael, he was talking about getting bubblegum ice cream from the local store, if I'm correct, right?
You are correct.
And only locals would know about that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when it comes to Joseph Lee Apodaca, was he a local guy, or was he just somebody who was just kind of coming through doing some roofing jobs and just leaving town?
No. His family was from Sunset. They owned a home there on 250 West, just literally a couple blocks away from the police station, in fact. And what's interesting about his family is not only did he have a long history of trouble with the law, he was in and out of jail, in and out of prison, many offenses, even against children, but his half-brother was just as crazy, if you will. His brother was even killed by police in a shootout in Ogden, which is, just a short distance away from Sunset. But the family was from here, and we believe that that was a significant clue that was kind of really brushed aside by law enforcement, being that the perpetrator and tried to entice the kids to go to Bobco's for ice cream, because there's no way in hell somebody passing through from Florida or Washington State would know you could go get ice cream at Bobco's. They would mention some kind of national chain, Safeways, Albertsons, or something like that was prevalent in 1982. They would have no idea that there was a local store called Bobco's.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I understand that this is a much more, or at least at that time in the 80s, it was a much more quaint, smaller town. Elaine, did you know of this Joseph Lee before all of this went down, or
No,
is this?
no.
No.
Nope. I just was raising my 3 children, and I was cooking lunch, and they came in and said, this is what happened. And we went upside down from there, and it's been a nightmare. And I didn't know any people like that.
But see, like, for instance, Elaine and her husband, Jeff, were not from Utah originally. They moved here, and they brought their kids here to raise them here. So it was all just sad circumstances that led to this moment, because, for instance, access to the playground wasn't even available just 3 days before. They had installed a gate preparing for the upcoming school year the following week. So they put in a gate. They took some family pictures the next day, and then the next day after that, the kids wanted to go through the gate to go play with the big toy playground behind the house, which was 15 feet away. So had that gate not been installed, it wouldn't have happened. Had they not moved here, it wouldn't have happened. Well, just, bad circumstances led to this tragedy. And we're hoping that we're at the final runs of this, because 42 years is too long. We're just hoping that the public can provide the additional pieces of information that can help law enforcement, because unfortunately, Lee passed away a few years ago.
With Lee, of course, he's already passed. He's gone now. What is it that we can do? Because I know that you guys are speaking to us, reaching out to us, asking for our help. So what is it that we can do to help with this case?
Right. What we're hoping for is that anybody that knew Lee Apodaca throughout these 40 years or 50 years, before the crime, since the crime, anything that would sound similar in nature, like if his other victims matched Rachel's description, would be helpful. If anybody remembers him frequenting the Trappers Loop Road, which is where they found Rachel's body 3 weeks later, if they are familiar with his change of behavior around the mentioning of Rachael Runyan, the mentioning of the rise of August 26th, would he get drunk? Would he ramble on about her? Was he obsessed with the case? Anything that would link him to Rachel's case, no matter how big or small, we would like to hear about those stories so we can have that information passed along to law enforcement. Okay.
So after that gets passed on to law enforcement, I'm just kind of curious, because, I'm not law enforcement. I know that you, Jason, have a long history of, being a private eye. I'm curious, if somebody was to say, yeah, I heard Lee say such and such back in the day, what's the next step? What do we exhume his body from the grave? What is the next step here, so that we can get some more clarity, some more transparency, and possibly some justice for Rachael?
Well, what we would like for them to do first is to call me or call Sunset Police. They can reach me at my cell, 801-759-2248. So we can learn what the quality of their information is first, and then determine what would be the next step, how best to use it to make the case stronger, or even clear his name if we're wrong about this. But we feel pretty confident this is the guy that is responsible for Rachel's abduction, and we want the evidence to come in to support that.
Are you confident in that as well, Elaine?
All the pieces are coming together. And like he said, if we could just have a couple more pieces, meaning people that knew him, and he said, hey, I did that, or, I'm so sad, I'm so sorry, something like that. Someone knows something. He knew people.
Right. And it wouldn't be the first case that we, studied throughout American history where somebody said that they did something and then whoever they said it to didn't believe him, right? So he said, oh, I killed that girl. And they're like, yeah, whatever. But, obviously in this light, it's a confession. We'd like to hear about that. So we're hoping that he said stuff like that were damning against him. But, we don't know who they are unless they come forward. And this is the means to get that information to us, is share the name, share how he's responsible for this case, and they come forward and say, yeah, we can give you additional insight to that.
Couple more questions. And I think this is very fascinating stuff. And it's interesting because if this is the case, then this is a huge break in the case, right? So hopefully everybody who's watching this right now, please, if you are in the area, were in the area around that time or throughout the last 42 years, maybe he wrote something down. Maybe you saw something he wrote in a journal or something like that. Maybe it was
maybe there's photos of him in the mid 80s that matches the description that has been shared out there, specifically if he's got a gap in his philtrum here of his mustache.
Absolutely.
So anything could be helpful.
Right. The blue shirt, the red with the red stripe, etc. Right. I think those are all crucial pieces of information. Now, what was, I hate to ask this, but I know he has a history of SA, right? Attacking littles, attacking children. And so I'm curious, did he have a specific type, or was it just any children, if that makes any sense? Were his victims the same?
Opportunity. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like a child, and he saw 3 kids playing at the big toy right behind my house, which they had never got to do in their entire life by themselves. And he just walked across the park, and he sat on a 4-foot wide slide facing the mountains, and the kids were under it. So you couldn't see all this through the grapevine hanging over the fence. Mm-hmm. But I would call them and they would answer. And the only reason we even know as much as we do is 2 boys witnessed it. And my son, he was even scared to come home and say anything, because he's like, how do I tell my mom her little girl's in a car with a stranger?
Right. Yeah, I can only imagine. But what I mean is, because there have been other people kind of possibly linked, potential suspects linked to this situation. Some of them have been, debunked because of the type of kids, this person was alleged of maybe being involved in this, but he only attacked boys, right? And there's been other things like that. So that's what I mean by is his history, does it match Rachael and her type, if that makes any sense? Were they all girls, all blonde girls, all, you know what I mean, so on and so forth? Jason?
At the moment, we know that he was only interested in girls, but we don't know if they're just blonde girls, because we really haven't really interviewed other victims to know at that time when they were assaulted what their hair color is or what their age was. We just know that they were little. We know that the babysitter, which was one of his first, was a teenager. So there's some differences about their age, but it just might be because, like Elaine says, they're vulnerable, they're children, regardless of their youth. It was an opportunity more than it's the fact that it's a teenager or prepubescent or anything like that.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I was kind of curious about that because obviously I know that there's been some connections to other people, other men being accused, and then
right.
They're,
who you're alluding to is there was a point where Arthur Gary Bishop was picked up and interviewed, and he says, I didn't do it. I'm only interested in boys. And that's, clearly was the case. All of his victims were young boys.
Right.
And so clearly picking up Rachael would be an exception. And he denounced it. He said he didn't do it. He confessed to everybody else. So there's no reason not to believe him about that.
Right.
And
can I
he's
ask?
been executed too.
Oh, okay. So he's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha. So I got a question. I got a couple other questions. And they're a little bit off of the breaking the case information about Lee Apodaca or Joseph Lee Apodaca. But please, guys, if you guys know anything, please speak up. We would love to get this case figured out as soon as possible. But I am kind of curious about the snuff film theories, the ritualistic things. Can we talk about that? Is that remotely close as far as the theories that have been out here? Are they just completely out of whack, or is it close to the theories that people are putting out here?
Well, where that came from is his sister said that her brother did it, and that they wanted to do a snuff film and video someone getting killed on camera. And I never even heard of that before. And so it had to be explained to me, and they've just never found any kind of film. And we have a lot of evidence that shows she was taken that very day to the place that she was hidden in a mountain canyon stream.
So yeah, let me elaborate just a little bit. What you're talking about there was, it was presented in an episode of Unsolved Mysteries in 1989, that the theory was that an African-American abducted her for the purposes of filming a snuff film, which we know that really no leads came about from that episode. And the reason is because snuff films in 1982 involving children was just urban legend. There was no truth to it. And there had been at one point a local woman falsely accused her brother of being responsible, an African-American, who had a Bobcat, which is a Mercury version similar to a Pinto, but it had no wood grain panels. She came forward seeking the reward money, named her brother, and then later recanted. So all of that should have been just ignored and rejected because of the recantation, but police kept that on the forefront burner because they wanted it to be true. But the fact that he had a Bobcat with no wood grain panels, in my opinion, eliminated him to begin with, because it was unequivocal. All the available witnesses said that it was a blue Pinto style wagon with wood grain panels. And when you see the car, that's the only thing that stands out is the wood grain. It's not like you would accidentally say that there's wood grain if there wasn't. So when they showed this person of interest that they had at the time, this woman's brother, and they showed the car on the news, they selected just the front view of the car, which would conceal the fact that it didn't have wood grain on the side. So I think at the time they probably knew it was not a good match of the getaway car. So why pursue it? Why portray it in the news? Why get everybody all fired up? If it's the wrong car, it's the wrong suspect.
Right. Wow. I mean, this whole case, I'm sure, quite a journey, right, Elaine? I mean, quite a journey from the day.
Yeah.
A horrible journey, for sure. How's the family? How's your family doing ever since this tragedy happened up until now? How is everybody holding up?
You know, I had my family over yesterday for Sunday dinner, and we're close, love each other tremendously. They feel bad that it ever happened, and we can't change the story. We wanted to many times, but they've had to live that life, and they're like, "Are you Rachael Runyan's brother?" Stuff like that. So, I mean, there's been notoriety, but nothing that they liked or that they were seeking. It's just the Runyan name got really popular, and I had to keep her name out there to keep the story alive so we could get to this point. And I love that Jason was like, well, maybe some of the facts are wrong. Maybe Justin saw something different that everybody thinks, and then Justin was telling me he didn't think it was a black man. And so that just came up a lot, and he felt unheard. He was just a little boy, and now he's a man, he's grown up, and he has thought that for years and verified it.
Mm-hmm.
In closing, Pascal, I'd like to share my personal experience that I had talking to Justin.
Sure.
Bear in mind, he was 5. He was the oldest brother. He felt guilty his whole life that he could have done something to save his sister, which is just ridiculous to imagine. He was 5. There's nothing he can do with a grown man other than accurately describe something to his mom. But when I showed him a picture of the Pinto Squire that I purchased for this case, he goes, "Oh my gosh, I've been looking for this car my entire life."
Wow.
Jason, this is it. This is the car I've been looking for. Because there was nothing of it on the internet. One day, a couple years ago, I'm always looking for it online, and I come across a barn find website that there's an auction of a Pinto Squire, a blue one, and I jumped on eBay to bid to win it. Eventually, the day of the closing, my bid is high enough, I win it. I have to pay all this money for it and then ship it out here. But finally, we can take some pictures of it. And that's the moment I shared it with Justin. And he was just completely relieved. He wore this guilt for over almost 40 years at the time when I showed him the photos. And he was like, "This is it. This is the car I've been looking for." So, and we shared this photo with the nieces, and they confirmed this is the car. This is the kind of car that Lee had, down to the exact blue vinyl interior. So there doesn't seem to be a mistake here. It's just a matter of making sure that the pieces that appear to fit are indeed the right puzzle pieces to make this picture right.
Yeah, and it looks like, the pieces are starting to finally fall together and start to latch together. And again, I hope our conversation and I know you've been doing decades of conversations on many shows, many podcasts, and all that. And I God bless you for just staying on top of this and not giving up. And I'm hoping that maybe, what Jason has found and what he's unearthed is the step in the right direction, the step towards truth for you and your family.
Elaine has been one of the strongest people I've ever met. She's been true to her daughter, honoring her, just doing the right thing for everybody else, establishing the Rachael Alert to the Missing Exploited Person Day, and just everything she can do to help others take her loss and help others to prevent deaths from happening to others. Think about it. in 1982, there wasn't a 911 system. There wasn't an Amber Alert system. So she had to go out on her own, run around town, went to Bobco's with her 2 little kids looking for her daughter, and then call her husband. And they had to dial the police number the manual way with the 7-digit number in order to get a reaction. But by then it's too slow. Had there been an Amber Alert in 1982, there might have been the vehicle description or plate numbers or something revealed where they can, better block traffic and prevent the getaway that happened, unfortunately, in this scenario. But, she's been true to her daughter and to the community, and God bless Elaine for being such a strong person.
Absolutely.
I don't think I could live that strong for this long like she has.
Absolutely.
It happened to me. So
Well, I was the mouthpiece, I guess, I mean, she couldn't speak about it.
Absolutely.
and she wrote a book that I read that's just a manuscript, back in 1987, and it is like the most detailed, emotionally drawing version of any kidnapping I've ever read. It's like amazing. I keep trying to get her to publish it. It's just that good. It's like the best read of such a sad story I've ever read, and I'm sure any parent that's been in the same situation would identify with it because it's so well written. It's so emotional.
You should get it published.
I've been trying to tell her that for so long.
What's holding you back?
Then you're dealing with it again and talking about it, and
It's so good though.
But there's something about getting it on paper, right? Getting all that out and getting that on paper that is very freeing. Getting that energy out of your system. And also you got to remember there's somebody else somebody out there in the world might need that book. You just never know.
I totally believe that.
And I think it might actually be healing. There might be a healing quality for Elaine if she got it
Absolutely.
out. So.
Absolutely. It's definitely getting that energy out, but then also you're doing service for other people that may need that book. You just never know. And and you already wrote the book.
For decades.
It's a manuscript
already. In 1987.
Yeah.
And there's no way I could remember all that stuff now.
Oh yeah,
details.
It was so well written. I found it to be forensic. There's stuff in there that she wrote and recorded, in writing, like a log entry that I've never thought to ask, and it never would have been a detail to come out. But for me reading it, I wouldn't have learned that about the case. Like, for instance, the day of the abduction, the police took the 2 kids, Justin and the little boy, across the way. They hypnotized them in order to get their descriptions. I didn't even know that they did hypnotism, but that's what they did that day.
Wow. Welcome to the 80s.
And I wouldn't know to tell him. It's been so long.
Yeah, no kidding. But over time details disappear, right? But man, that's very 80s. Hypnotizing, it seems very 80s, but that's incredible, but yeah, you should. I'm sure everybody who's watching this will agree for sure that just it's already there. You sat down, you typed it out,
get it done.
Hundreds of pages already done. Just publish it. You'll thank yourself later. Yes, you say you'd be living it over and over and over again, but aren't you doing that right now, sweetheart?
I am.
So
I know, and everyone's asked me to do it. It's just I've had a whirlwind of a life between running a company, raising my children, keeping this at the forefront, and all the events and fundraising. It's like it was just another huge thing to do, and I just kept putting it on the back burner. But
and one last thing, Pascal, there is still a reward out there. If anyone wants to, call in this information about Lee, and it leads to, it's not going to lead to a conviction, but it may lead to closure. Obviously the reward is still out there, eligible for whoever has this information that may make the difference.
What's the reward at right now?
It's about 55,000.
Okay.
Just because it's not been pushed anymore. That's
Absolutely.
from way back when.
Right. No, that's totally fine. I would hope that 55 would entice or at least inspire somebody to step forward and speak out about this. Again, guys, I want to say thank you so much for coming here and just bringing awareness to this case, because I know there's a lot of people that may not know about this case. And so I'm hoping the best for you, Elaine. I'm hoping for some closure here very, very soon. You deserve it. Your family deserves it. Get that book out, for crying out loud. Just get the book out. It's done. You just need somebody to go through it, like an editor, page through it really quick. I'm sure it's dynamite already.
I've had it edited 3 times. It's clean.
It's already.
So it's already done. So it's done. So just get it out, because you can use at least, okay, not only would you be giving service to other people that need that book, because there's somebody out there somewhere in the corner of the world right now that needs that book right now. Okay. Not us, true crime, junkies out here. I'm just saying for the people out there that really need it. But then
I would think any mom in the same situation would really benefit.
Absolutely. But then you could take the proceeds and put that towards whatever you want, towards a organization, a foundation, so on and so forth. Things that, you can take that money and put it towards good, right? Turn that energy into more positive, right?
Well, and because that was in 1982 and all that stuff happened, well, 42 years later, we've done a lot of stuff, and that's another whole book.
Right.
And
there really could be a second
I just don't know if I have it in me.
I mean, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. You never know what, you already got one book done. So imagine just sitting down and writing a page every other couple days. Mm-hmm. You'd be finished. You'd be finished before the summer, Just think about it. Just think about it. Because that's amazing, that you did that. That not a lot of people can sit there and say that they wrote a manuscript, that they wrote a book. So you put the time in, might as well give it out to the rest of the world so that they can be consumed by that positive energy and that insightfulness. I think that's really important. But again, both of you guys, thank you so much for being here. The best of luck in your search for truth. And Elaine, my prayers go out to you and your family. It's amazing that you guys have stayed together so strong, even during these turbulent years. It just shows how amazing your family really is. So God bless you guys.
They are. They've grown into great men.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But again, thank you. Of course. Thank you. And we'll talk soon. Okay.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Take care, bud.
You too. Bye. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that interview. It was a really good one. Very informative, a lot to take down, a lot to bring in. Of course, this is still a case that has not been solved at all whatsoever. This young girl, her life was taken out of nowhere. Okay. 15 feet away from her family's home, taken by some man. Now, there's a possibility that Jason Jensen, who I know who's in the chat right now, what's up, man? How you doing, brother? Thank you so much for your time. And so thank you so much for all your energy, for all these cases that you have been working on so diligently. Real talk. But again, it's very interesting, the information that he has unearthed, that he has gotten out. There's a possibility that this guy could be the guy. He could very well be the guy. Now it's just a matter of everyone out here that may be in the area, that grew up with him, so on and so forth, whatever it may be, do whatever they can to find out if he said anything. It's 40 something years, okay? that you may have known this guy personally, and maybe he said something to you. Maybe he said something in passing. Maybe he gets emotional on this particular day. Okay, on today, every August 26th, around August, he gets emotional on this day, or he gets really drunk. He talks crazy on this day, whatever it may be. If you knew this guy at all, if he was an acquaintance, a friend, a cousin, anything like that, and he said anything remotely close to something that would be close to what happened to this young girl here, by all means, call that number, okay? Call Jason Jensen, all right? And I know it's in the chat here, and he also rattled it off in the interview as well. I highly recommend you guys doing that, okay? But let me grab some of these here really quick, because I know some people have some questions. Some people have some pointers, some points here, and maybe Jason's still in the chat. Love for you to hear some of these pointers, because there's some good pointers here. So here it is. Rook, what up, man? Thank you so much for being a member for the past 12 months. What's up, Pascal? Good to see you and the family. Great to see you too, Rook. Great to see you too, man. And thank you so much for your support. Real talk. S-Dubs, what's up? They can find him through high school yearbooks. I'm hoping Jason is, I don't know, maybe, because you got to remember, he allegedly is of Hispanic descent. We don't know. From what we understand, he may be American. He may have been born and raised here, and he may not be born and raised here. So that's something that we have to look at and see what's up. But as far as high school yearbooks and stuff like that, it's a good point. It's a very, very good point. But then also at the same time, we also got to remember, how old was he when he actually allegedly took this young girl? We also got to put that factor in there too, right? But still, no matter what, finding out his high school that he went to and so on and so forth, maybe some high school friends might be like, yeah, he was really weird. He had a history of doing this, this, and this. Yeah, he was, he kept to himself. We didn't really rock with him that much. Anything, right? It gives us more insight, right? Because you got to remember, this guy was also doing a whole bunch of SA on a bunch of people, okay? A bunch of kids, okay? So that's very important too. So that's a good point. Somebody also asked about the DMV. I do want to point that out as well. Somebody also asked about the DMV, and that's another good question as well, that maybe a deep dive into that. Maybe there's some information in there. I don't know. Right. But we do know that this man had a history already of SA, right? That he has a very violent past. He's two big thumbs down. OK, many big thumbs down. All right. He's a monster. Right. But Shiro, thank you so much. Forgive me if they said it already, but did they ever speak with the babysitter he attacked to see if she could provide any clues? That's another good question. I don't know. We didn't ask that. We didn't talk about that. But hey, Jason, if you're in the chat and if you are listening, something to think about, something to, another bee to throw into your bonnet. All right. Baby Kisses, thank you so much for becoming a member. And like Baby Kisses and everybody else who's been so supportive, please consider becoming a member of the family simply by hitting that join button down below. Like I said, we talk about a lot of things on this show. As you already see, we started with Jennifer Lewis, a little snippet from Jennifer Lewis to Mariah Carey. Now we're talking about this right now. Okay. And then we are about to take another left turn here in just a second. So please, by all means, become a member. Support the channel if you can. That'll be amazing. Don't forget to hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button. Hit that follow button on my respective social medias. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button here. Go to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there too. Okay? That would be awesome. Okay? That would be awesome. Okay. But again, we do not know where or who did this to this young girl. And this is 42 years old. And I'm hoping at some point we get some more transparency. Maybe Jason is right. Maybe. And maybe Jason is wrong. We don't know. But what the fact that he has this information to me is very, very telling. I will say that. Okay. It is extremely telling to me. So hopefully somebody out there is watching this show and watching many of the interviews and conversations that Elaine has been on. And hopefully this can unearth something new and take this case down a different road and hopefully towards justice, right? Or at least towards clarity. Because if it is him, he's gone, right? At least we get some clarity about that. And also, too, what if he did this again? What if that guy is the guy and he's done this more than just the few people that he's done these things, terrible things to? What if he's connected to other unalived kids that have of cases that have gone cold? That could very well be it too, right? You'd think that a guy who got away with it the first time, you don't think he's going to go and try to do it again? He'd probably go and try to do it again. Real talk. Okay? Real talk. But we have got to switch gears a little bit. Okay? And again, I always say this, and I will continue to say this. If you see something, say something. Okay? If you see something, say something. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Left turn. Another left turn, but this is a little bit lighter. Okay? A little bit of a lighter conversation. All right? Have you guys heard about this whole TikTok thing? The very demure, very, very mindful, very demure thing? Has anybody heard about that? It's been like this huge thing on TikTok. Okay? A TikToker by the name of Jules LeBron, okay, came up with this whole thing. It became a thing on TikTok where they would say, like, I'm being very demure, very mindful about whatever that they're doing, right? And it turned into a thing. Everybody and their mom have been doing some sort of TikTok being very demure and very mindful about something, okay? Now, this thing blew the F up. I mean, huge, okay? Everybody's doing it. Like I said, everybody's being very demure and very, very mindful about nothing, okay? Very demure, very mindful while I'm taking a poop. You know what I mean? It's getting ridiculous, all right? But what's interesting is this content creator just literally shoots off into space as far as the stardom and the success, right? But something really messed up happens and everything backfires on Jules LeBron. Now, take a look at this, okay? The creator who popularized demure shares she's unable to launch merch because her viral phrase has already been trademarked. Yes, this actually happened. Now, you remember, this is every rite of passage. Like, this is every content creator's rite of passage. Let's keep it real, okay? You get a few followers, you get a few subscribers, you get a few clicks, you get a few views. You say a phrase that people like, you put it on a t-shirt, and then you sell it online. Not only do you use TikTok or any of these other platforms and you say it over and 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 over again, but at the same time, you slap it onto a t-shirt because it's not legit until it's on a t-shirt that you can sell to people, right? And put it on coffee mugs and whatnot. And let me tell you, I'm not throwing shade. This is the truth. Okay? This is the truth. This is what we all do. Okay? Shoot, I got t-shirts. I got t-shirts. Okay? It's called PascalMerch.com. Okay? Go check it out. You'll love it. I swear. All right? I got In These Streets. Okay? I got t-shirts. Okay? Now, this particular character, this particular content creator, okay, got popular for saying being very demure, being very cute, being very mindful. Okay? doing whatever that they're doing. Became huge. She wants to put it on t-shirts. She can't do it no more because somebody trademarked the mother lover, okay? Took it, ripped it right from under her, man. Do you know how savage that is? Do you realize how savage, how heartless that is? That's messed up, right? It's like the whole "you're fired" or any of these other phrases that became trademarked by influencers or stars or whatever, right? Didn't Paris Hilton do "that's hot"? Didn't she do that? Didn't she trademark "that's hot"? 2 freaking words that we say all the time. Seriously? You drink coffee, that's hot. Ouch. You sip on some soup, that's hot. Ow. You eat a spicy taco, that's hot. Ow. Does she make money every time we just say that? Did she just make money by me speaking that out loud, saying it 3 times in a row? Or is she going to appear in the corner like Beetlejuice? That's a joke. There you go. But still, I'm wondering, the F, man. And I feel bad for this content creator because this is what happened in one of their most recent videos. Let's take a look.
Like this merch situation is like really like fucking me up. Like I've just invested so much money and time into this, and I feel like I did it wrong. Like I feel like I didn't try hard enough, and like I wanted this to like do so much for like my family and like provide for my transition, and like I just feel like I dropped the ball. Like I feel like I fucked up and like someone else has it now. And I like don't even know what I could have done better because like I didn't have the resources. And I'm just like sitting in bed just like feeling so fucking bad about all of this.
Now, I'm going to be real. That's sad, man. Okay? That's really, really sad. All right? No matter what, this is a terrible thing to happen. Okay? You come up with something, it becomes catchy. Everyone sits there and goes, "Oh yeah, very demure, very mindful." Everyone loves it. Okay? Even dudes, even British dudes are doing it. They're like, "Oh, so very demure, very mindful while I'm watering the plants." There's that. Real talk. I seen it with my own 2 eyes. I seen it. Okay? I've seen it. British dude, British bloke saying those things. Okay? Probably a hooligan. Probably just gets pissed, drinking pints, getting in fights, supporting Manchester United. And he's even sitting there going, very demure, very mindful. Isn't that interesting, right? What happened is somebody just decided to be an a-hole. Somebody just decided to be an absolute a-hole and say, "Hey, I'm taking this and making their time a living hell now." Maybe this person didn't like the fact that this content creator wanted to finish their transition. And so this is their way of saying, the middle finger to this particular person because they wanted to continue finishing out their transition. That could very well be it too. I don't know what it is, but what's sad about this is, there's people out here that have that extra income, that extra money, so on and so forth. And they'll sit there and go, "Well, that's big right now. And I could sell these t-shirts, or I could slap that on a t-shirt and make those monies. Or I could do this and make her life a living hell," which is exactly what I think that they did. I think somebody went out of their way to just be a hater because they don't like this content creator and what this content creator stands for and represents. I don't think this is a thing of them trying to make a quick buck. They're trying to stop this particular content creator from making a quick buck. So this is very much not demure, very much not mindful. Okay? They're being very much not demure and not mindful while stealing money from this content creator's pocket. I think that's trash. I think this is absolute trash and sad, because all of us content creators out here all have dreams of doing something bigger than just sitting in a room with our phone talking to our phones, right? We all have dreams of being able to be something bigger and doing something more, not only just to support ourselves, but our families, our extended families, so on and so forth. Take those dream trips that we've always wanted to take, because those things are expensive as have you looked it up? And I ain't talking about Priceline.com. Even on Priceline is expensive. Have you ever tried to look up tickets to Dubai on Priceline? Do it. Try it. See what happens. You try to get a cheap trip to Dubai? That's 70 different layovers. You'll get there in 3 weeks. It'll be $500. You'll get it for a steal. But it'll take you 7 weeks to get your ass to Dubai one way. So it's frustrating when you see something like this. It's frustrating because we all have dreams of doing something more, right? Aspiring to take care of the people that we love. That's the dream, right? It doesn't matter if you're a content creator, you play basketball, you cook for a living, you babysit for a living, whatever it is, you have that dream of having more, right? An abundance. And some of us are greedy and we just all want it in our back pocket, okay? Lining up our mattresses filled with money, sleeping ever so gently and happily with that money underneath you. And some of us want to take care of the people that we love, make them happy, buy them a house, buy them a car, those big dreams, right? And somebody went out of their way to rip the rug right out from this content creator. Like I said, I've said a million times before, live your life. Do you, boo-boo, okay? You want to live your life one way? Hey, as long as it's not hurting nobody, enjoy yourself. But at the same time, there are people out here that have a problem with people being different, thinking different, living a different lifestyle. And especially when we're on these social media platforms, they'll do everything they can to try to destroy that person. Let me tell you what I mean, okay? Now, on my TikTok, okay, this is not a thing to be like, go over there and be very demure, very mindful. I'm not asking you to do that. But I just put up, it was not just, but it was a couple weeks ago, okay? There was a video where this man was getting attacked verbally by a group of men, actually. Okay, one man started talking about he's going to be hanging from a tree. I'm going to hang you on a tree in the backyard. The man who was actually being verbally attacked was black. Is black. He didn't change colors. He ain't a chameleon. Okay, he's black. But the guy who was actually talking to him was white. Group of white people. This was in Nevada. This guy was walking around. This black man was walking around, and all he was doing was asking if they can sign a petition so that they can lower the price on lawyers, okay, in the state of Nevada. This guy somehow gets angry. This white man, okay? Sorry, this is very important, okay? I know some people get a sensitive about their race, but this is very important. This white man comes over, he gets angry, and he says what he said. You'll be hanging from a tree, and he goes, "Oh, I don't make trash, I burn them." Stuff like that. Saying this to this black man. And the black man was very upset, okay? This man was very, very verbally, he was behind the camera, he was holding the phone, and he's like, I can't believe you guys are all here laughing at me, having a great time. Now, here's the thing. At my expense, right? So here's the thing. Later on, okay, he posts this video. It goes viral, showing these men and some of these women, because there were women involved there too, acting a damn fool. They straight up showed their whole ass. Okay? Trash. All right? But for some odd reason, the video gets flagged. Flagged. Not by the people themselves, but everybody else who was watching it that felt some type of way about those guys getting exposed for the ruthless that they are. So guess what happens? TikTok forces this content creator to take down the video. So the video is gone and no more to be seen ever again. Well, except for me and some other content creators, we've put it up on our TikToks and it still exists. But the main place where it all started from, the viral video, was taken down on the actual content creator's page. And it's not because all consensually the whole world said, we got a problem with this. White and black said, no, we need to take this down. It's not right. Right? No, it was a very specific demographic that felt some type of way and wanted to take it down because they didn't like what was being shown, which was the truth. Like I said, I've already talked about it on TikTok. Okay. But this is something that should not have happened. So again, you see somebody else who happens to live different, who is different, so on and so forth. The real reason why Trademark was taken, in my personal opinion, is not because somebody wanted to just make some money fast. No, somebody wanted to make this particular content creator's life a living hell. For whatever reason, because this person happens to be different. And that is wrong. That's absolutely wrong. Hey, let me say this. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay? But like I've said before, there are plenty of people lurking in the shadows, in the bushes, underneath rocks, okay? Full on snakes in the grass, acting like they are very demure and very mindful. See what I did there? But they're not. They're very much not. They just don't care. And they just like to see people suffer. You know, those little QWERTY keyboard people, right? Hiding behind fake names and fake avatars and stuff like that. Yeah, they exist and they're out there. And I think that they went and attacked this particular person. For what reason? Just to see this person cry. I will say this though, too. I do believe that Jules LeBron, the content creator, I do believe that she'll win again. She'll come up with another hit, another phrase that'll be big. All I ask and all I could tell her is, hey, you better have that money set aside so when that does blow up, when that next phrase blows up, you buy that trademark toot sweet as soon as possible. I will also say this too. You could still, I'm sure, go out there and make the content. You could still make money off of the demure. Say the content. Do your thing. At least as far as I know. But also realize that you still have appearances you can do. There's still other things you can do. It's not over yet. Okay? Like Justin Bieber said, the great Bieber said, never say never. I don't know why great Bieber and never say never ever came out of my mouth in one sentence, but hey, it's the first time for everything. So chin up, Jules. You're still a very creative individual. You're still very, very funny. I guarantee you something big is going to happen very soon, and you'll be able to trademark the hell out of it. So just wait. Keep creating. Don't let this stop you. Okay? Don't let it stop you. Anyway, guys, that's the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It means a lot. Yes, I said that the great Bieber. Okay. I don't know why I said it. Okay. He is Shakespeare. He is the modern day Shakespeare. You don't know this? Damn. But anyway. Oh, and I will say this too. Hold on. By the way, yeah, definitely this should be a cautionary tale for all of us, by the by. Okay? Something like this, you got an idea? Trademark that ish. Whatever it is, trademark that ish. Make sure you got it. That's it, y'all. Make sure you got it. Because there's always somebody out here going, oh, I like that. Ooh, I like that. And then they take it. And they don't give a damn. Because greed is terrible. Forget what Richard Greco said. Greed is not good. Greed is bad. Okay? And it breaks a lot of content creators' hearts. Okay, now I'm done. I appreciate you guys for being here. It means a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hit that like button down below if you appreciated the show and all that stuff. Yeah, kind of rhymed. But anyway. Hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button, please, and thank you. Don't forget to hit that follow button if you're watching on any of these other platforms, okay? Hit that subscribe button. Go to my secondary channel because there will be clips from the show over there very, very soon, okay? Because I know some of y'all are like, I don't want to watch all this ish. I just want to watch like 5-10 minutes of him just, yapping his jaws, man. Well, then they're going to be out very, very soon. So just wait. So hit that subscribe button over here, please, and thank you. Don't forget to hit that join button down below. Become a member, support the channel. Check out my Patreon, though. Okay, we got that Patreon, though. Check it out, all right? And, of course, we got that PascalMerch.com, which is very demure and very mindful of so many of you. So go check it out. You'll find something in there I'm sure you'll love to have all over your body. That sounds weird, but we're going to go with it. Okay? But anyway, guys, it's time to get going. Much love to you guys. Have a great one. I will see you guys tomorrow. My Lord, this was a long-ass day. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great one. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. Cabral. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.